welcome to season 2 of Let's Talk Energy. Let's Talk Energy is with my dear friend and colleague Amanda Brooks and myself, Jo Dahl, and we are both energy alchemists, energy healers beyond anything that you may have experienced before. And we thought last year that we would begin to talk about energy. For so long, energy has been not a taboo subject, but a subject that perhaps hasn't been completely understood by many people, and people didn't even want to talk about it. But now there's an awakening. And so we thought we would begin by talking about energy and all aspects in relation to energy. And it has been so well received by you, the listeners. Thank you so much that we have decided to launch our next season. Why are we doing this? Well, I know my reason why, and I'm sure we can share yours as well, Amanda, but it's because there are so many different dimensions, aspects to energy, and yet so often we aren't fully aware. And so to expand people's awareness, their knowledge, their wisdom of energy can only help themselves more and more and more. And so for me, that's why I think it's so important that we share all that we've gathered over our collective, what do we think it is now? 20, 30, 40, 55, 56 years
easily
of knowledge. So we thought we would share this in bite size. We aim for 15 minutes, bite-size podcasts, so that we can share some of that wisdom with you. Would you? What is your reason why for doing this as well?
Yeah, very much in agreement with yourself. And it's just to actually just pare things down into small, easily doable little things to actually help people. So there's full of different tools and tips that can make life that little bit easier. And all it is hopefully 15 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. So last year we started each podcast with an energy tool that we used until we got to the end of the year when we were starting to think, what are we going to talk about? So this season we thought we would share with you an affirmation and an affirmation. Now I'm going to share the affirmation and Amanda will share with you an affirmation, but also explain about what an affirmation is. So an affirmation is a positive saying in the here and now that you repeat often to kind of reset yourself, recalibrate yourself. And so the affirmation I'm going to share with you today is, I rise into spring, renewed, refreshed, and ready to grow. I rise into spring, renewed, refreshed, and ready to grow. And the affirmation.
Yeah, so an affirmation is where we put a question word at the beginning, because the subconscious mind loves questions. It's like we're always asking, why? And the brain's so busy looking around for reasons. So we're actually using it to help to bring in a sense of the affirmations. And so the one that I'm going to suggest is, why does my body feel more and more in balance? Why does my body feel more and more in balance? Now, this is not about you looking for the answer. This is about getting your subconscious looking for the answer. And ideally, you would repeat it 11 times in a row, once a day for 21 days. Most of us will just do affirmations and affirmations once or twice and then think, well, it hasn't worked. But it's about retraining the brain. And so, 11 times in a row, ideally out loud, so that you've got the temporomandibular joint and the vibration bringing it into your frequency, once a day for 21 days.
Perfect. So today the first episode of season 2, we are going to share with you information about spring and the energy of spring. We've also then, please listen to the middle bit because we've got a special offer for our listeners. And then we are going to talk a little bit about sleep. Now, sleep is a huge topic, so we might touch on it today and then come back to sleep later on in the year. So, spring. Spring is an emergence. And I don't know how you're feeling at the moment, but it has been a long winter and we have knuckled down, buckled up and covered ourselves with cosy blankets and not really wanted to go out. Well, that's me anyway. I'm talking about me. Um, you get home from work, you want to put your pajamas on and just sit and just do very little other than maybe read or knit or do something crafty. But now that the bulbs are starting to appear, there's some colour appearing in the garden, and there's just some kind of sense that Mother Earth is showing us that she's ready to awaken, and that is us. And what we try more than anything to do is to share with you, the listeners here today, that if we align more with nature, Mother Earth, and all that she's sharing with us, our rhythm is more in balance. And so this is the time of year. This is the time of year where you can reflect on what's been throughout the winter, but it's also about starting to look out for what you would like to do in the new year. And we call this the new year because this is when you can make the resolutions, you can set the intentions, you can set your affirmations and affirmations for what you would like to come for the year ahead. And it's when you can set those and feel energized enough to actually commit to them and stick to them. When we talk about New Year's resolutions, we used to set them on New Year's Day and then break them by the day after. So this is the time to set those intentions and those resolutions for yourself. So what does spring mean to you energetically?
So for me, it is about taking that step forward. It's like the clocks go forward. So that's my way of remembering which way the clocks are going to go. But you're stepping forward into spring. You're taking more action. You're maybe sorting out your cupboards, maybe decluttering a little bit of this and that. My rule of thumb, I try to look in my wardrobe and go, if I haven't worn it for the last 2 years, it's out. But every now and then we do keep hold of something, and even when it no longer fits us. So it is about also having that, but with intentions. It's not about setting yourself something absolutely massive that is going to feel like a burden. The intention could be just to do the affirmation or affirmations for the next 21 days. It could be to sort out one drawer. Don't look at doing the whole of the house, the whole of the bedroom, because it just really does feel incredibly overwhelming. But it's about looking at nature, looking at those colours that are starting to come out. That it's like an awakening. For me, it's like a birthing again of that season, and it's just, I find it glorious. I'm lucky in the thought that I enjoy every single season, and I know not a lot of people do, but you have to really appreciate something because you've been without it. So the darker, colder, warm Jim Jam times have gone, and you're now like, oh, I can get out and do a little bit more, hopefully if the weather is as nice as what we hope it will be.
Definitely. And we're also coming up to the spring equinox where there is that equilibrium again, where night is the same as day. And that is a celebration because it feels like it's a stepping into what's to come for the few months that are coming up ahead. And also, this is a great time to consider maybe cleansing as we want to move from the sedentary, stagnant kind of energy where we just want to be cozy, warm, but not do very much. And our bodies can sometimes feel a little bit sluggish, a little bit congested. As we then move into spring, there is this yearning to get more active and do more to help ourselves. We perhaps are more conscious of wanting to eat better food instead of just wanting to eat stew all the time, which is what I do. Stew and pie, I have to say, it's my downfall. But this is a great time to do a small cleanse. And what we're going to do between now and the next episode is share a little bit of information about that for you so that you can just bring it into your awareness should you wish to do a gentle internal cleanse. So also we like to offer our listeners something. And so this month we would like to offer you a Spring Equinox meditation. And in order to obtain this, if you just send us an email, the email address is at the bottom of the podcast. It would be lovely to hear from you and have any feedback as to how you're finding these podcasts, but also do put in that you would like to receive a copy of the PDF for the Spring Equinox meditation, and one will land at your door.
That sounds really exciting, and I know that, Jo, you're gonna do amazing because I love your meditations, especially around the equinox times. So thank you for that amazing gift. And also, when you're writing in, do maybe suggest topics that you would like us to cover, because we can always bring different aspects in as well. Because this is about you. It's about what you are wanting to hear and how we move forward, really, with everything. But we did want to talk a little bit about the clocks going forward and sleep, because obviously you get an hour less, but you don't technically get an hour less at night, because it could be in the daytime, depending, because the body will tend to sleep for as long as it normally needs to. Now, I don't need as much sleep as lots of other people, but that's not necessarily the way for everybody. And the thing is that when the clocks change, it can affect our circadian rhythm. And that is the body's internal clock that regulates our sleep-wake cycle in any 24 hours. And so this is why, especially anyone that has children, you'll notice the clocks change, but children don't realize the difference. They are still up and going to bed at the same time. And it takes a period of adjustment for that to actually start to come in. And one of the things that I found really beneficial to do is that if you do, and it sounds very strange, but if you draw like a figure 8, over and above, sort of like going down to your torso, crossing at the navel. And if you do that for a number of times, it helps to bring your body's circadian rhythm back into alignment very quickly. And it's just something that I found when my son was little. It just is helpful and easy. Very easy. So what about you, Jo? How do you find and cope with the clock change?
So I tend to just go with it. So, I don't fight it. I don't get cross with myself if I don't go to bed or wake up at the times that I have been doing. And I think that that's something that we need to be mindful of. But I also think that if you have a routine or a ritual even for going to bed, then that can help the body in preparing for sleep, but also it helps just to allow the body to be gently guided into a new rhythm of the time zones that you may be in, because not everybody's obviously in the same time zone as we are. So I think, just having that intention to set the time you would like to go to bed, maybe start to unwind before you get there. If you have a bath, have a bath. If you just like to read a little bit before you do, try and switch off all devices, because I think that's good for us in preparation for good quality sleep. And then, if you do wake up earlier than you have been doing, if you do wake up later than you have been doing, try and just bring that into a rhythm again so that you can go with it for a little while until your body finds its new spring rhythm and you can then adjust more easily. I don't know about you, Amanda, but I do know clients who really, really struggle when the times change, and it really affects their energy, it affects their mood, it affects lots of things internally. And so what I would say to you is, if you are really affected by the changes in the clock, then do reach out, because both Amanda and I offer treatments that can help the body realign and rebalance itself. We don't want you to struggle or to suffer at this time. So just reach out if we can help in any way.
Brilliant. And so, bearing in mind, we're trying to keep this to 15 minutes, and I know we've just gone over. Just do a really brief recap. You've got an affirmation from Joe, an affirmation from myself. We talk about the MP3 that you can access when you email the info email address below this podcast, and then you can receive that. We've just touched very briefly on sleep. As Joe said at the beginning, that's going to be something that we preferably need to come back to at some point. And there's lots of other things that we can still tell you about that too. So for now, we just want to thank you so much for all of your time. And next month, we are going to be talking about the house energies, and then we might well follow up with sleep after that or before it. Let's see. So in the meantime, it's goodbye from myself.
It's goodbye from me.